Hi guys! So I haven't actually been around in a while. I think it's been like a month since I uploaded my last video, and that is because I wanted to do a video of something that's quite important to me, and it has become quite important to me recently, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. So if you know me in real life, you'll probably know that I am vegan, and it's not something that I've ever mentioned on here before. I mean, I talk about it on my Twitter quite a lot, but apart from that, it's not something I really post about on Facebook. Don't have a great deal of things about it on Instagram. But I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know, but I've never mentioned it in a video or anything before, and I couldn't decide how to go about filming a video relating to it because I didn't want to come across as one of these preachy vegans who tells you that everyone should be vegan, and if you don't, you're the worst person to exist in the world. I mean, there is an absolute wealth of information. There is YouTube videos, there is blogs, there is everything on the internet that has that kind of information. If you want to do the research, I mean, there is endless documentaries, and I will link so much stuff down below. So if you want to do the research, you can, but I thought that all these people can word it a lot better than I can for the scientific and biological and health and ethical reasons and everything that you should be vegan. But I also know that a lot of the reason that people get put off of it or think that they couldn't do it is because they think it's really difficult and that you can't eat this and you can't eat that, and you're just constantly in a place where you're like, oh, I can't do this, I can't eat these things, I can't socialise, I'm gonna miss out on all my favourite foods, there are so many things that I can't do. So I wanted to just make a short video of the things that I think are kind of staple products that have really helped me and how easy it is to find them. Everything that I've bought bar one thing is from Tesco's, and it's not even a giant Tesco's, it's just your average Tesco's. So let's get into it. First off is recipes and information, and two of my favourite recipe books are these. If you watch a lot of YouTube, you'll probably have heard of Naomi Smart. She's a well-known YouTuber, and she is vegan, and her cookbook, you kind of have to be a little bit careful because I know that she does eat honey, which isn't technically vegan. She has a ton of really great recipes in here and advice. There's even meal plans of what to eat in a day, and there is an absolute ton of recipes in here, just everyday super simple recipes. And I know on her, if you go and subscribe to her, she posts a lot of what I eat in a day videos that show you a lot of things that you know that you can eat out, or easy things to make, quick recipes and meal ideas and that, which is great. My other favourite is this one, Thug Kitchen. So this is hilarious, and even if you don't want to go vegan or eat a plant-based diet, you should read it because it is brilliant. It's awful, it's full of swearing, so I'm not going to read any of the sections of it out, but they're just super passionate and super knowledgeable about their recipes and about plant-based eating. And I mean, they've even got like, there's these pages that are just basic stuff, and there's a whole section on vegan desserts. So I mean, if that doesn't buy you, I don't know what will. But there is an absolute ton of recipe books out there. I mean, you can search it on Amazon and you will be brought up with pages and pages and pages of great plant-based eating or vegan recipe books. There's also tons of blogs that have recipes. I mean, the little blog of vegan she has a blog, and then she's also on Twitter and Instagram, and she posts the most amazing looking desserts and food things. So go and check her out. I will also link her down below. There is just so much information out there that you can't miss it. Just try it. Just try some of the recipes, and I guarantee you will not even realise that you are missing meat and dairy. It's amazing. Next step, if cooking is not your thing and you are kind of concerned about not being able to eat stuff because you don't really like cooking and there's nothing that you can really grab, like if you're, I know it's a lot of students and young people like freezer food, and I was one of those people. I actually really enjoy cooking, but I also really enjoy freezer food, and it's really bad and I shouldn't, and I should cook all my meals fresh and from scratch, but sometimes everyone likes freezer food. I'm gonna admit it. Even vegans like freezer food, guys. Some things obviously are specifically vegan. Like I've just grabbed two of the things from my freezer here. I've got a whole freezer full downstairs. But these are possibly what my vegan dreams are made of. They're just Tesco sweet potato falafels, and I practically always have a box of these cooked, and I just put them in the fridge and then just fry them off quickly whenever I want some. And they're great. They can go in wraps, you can have them with pasta, in salads, anything. They make really, really great sandwiches, and they are totally vegan, and they cost like £1.50 or something. Next is also these, which are another absolute favourite. I love fish finger sandwiches, and I know very, very few people that don't love fish finger sandwiches, and these corn fishless fingers are vegan, and they taste exactly like fish fingers, and they have the exact same texture as fish fingers. And if you had not told me that I was eating vegan fish fingers, I would not realise, because they're exactly the same. They are great, and they make amazing fish finger sandwiches. And I mean, you can get that, like, Corn has so many products. And also what I really like about Corn is that they specifically label their vegan ones separately, so you don't have to be checking the products, the ingredients and that all the time, because they are labeled as vegan. Next up, if even making salads with falafels and that is more than you would like to do for cooking, and I mean this also counts for like parties. I know a lot of when you have gathering with friends and you just want to cook like party food things. Tesco also cater for that with these, and I mean these are just 2 of the range. They have a ton of stuff. It's not labelled vegan, so you do have to check the packaging and the ingredients, but that's super easy to do with an app that I will talk to you about in a little bit. But a lot of their frozen party food that you just shove in the oven and it cooks in 10 minutes is vegan. I could eat these all day. So next up is this. These are just a few of my frozen vegetables. I am from England, and if you don't know what English weather is like, especially in the winter, it is rubbish. I can assure you that I would much rather have all of my vegetables come from a nice organic local farm, that I pick them up in a cardboard box and there's no waste or anything involved, but that is just not gonna happen in the middle of Cambridge, in England, in the winter. I would love it, but it's just not gonna work. And I also find that even if you get fresh vegetables, I mean, I work a lot, and there are a lot of days where I don't cook because I'm just at work all day, and I'll just take leftovers from the day before. And because I'm out all the time, I find that I just burn through vegetables and they just go off. I share my fridge with 5 other people in my house. There's just not the space to have an absolute ton of fresh vegetables. Fresh vegetables in England in the middle of winter are not great anyway, because, you know, we're in England. They just don't grow. And the same goes for fruit as well. It's just not reasonable to think that I can have everything organically grown and with no pesticides or anything on it like that, which is obviously where frozen vegetables come in really handy, because you don't even have to cut them off or anything, you get everything pre-sliced. And when it comes to cooking, I mean, you can literally just fling them in a pan, fry them for 10 minutes with a bit of water, and they're done. It's great. It's easy, it's simple. There is absolutely no effort required. So next up is rice. So I probably eat rice 6 days out of 7 of the week. It is so easy to make. If you have a rice cooker, I mean, if you have it in a pan, it's easy to make, but what I would suggest investing in is a rice cooker, because it makes life so easy. You fling a cup of this in with a cup of water and you leave it, and in 10 minutes it's done, and you don't even need to stir it. It's just so easy to make, and it goes with everything. You can have curries, and you can have it with stir fries and sweet and sour vegetables and burritos, and just stir fried with veggies, and in wraps and Mexican food and everything. Everything works with rice. Next up, spices. So I find that a lot of people think that they like meat because they like the taste of meat, and they're like, oh, but I'd miss the taste of it so much. And I suppose there is a degree to which you might miss the taste of it a little bit, but if you think about it, a plain bit of chicken or a plain bit of beef is not really that appealing. It's when you add the flavourings and the salt and the pepper and the sauces and that's when it's appealing. I mean, the same goes for vegetables. You can flavour anything to make it taste like something that you'll enjoy. It's really not hard. And a few of my absolute essentials, I think, are these guys. So first off is tamari. It's just a low sodium soy sauce basically. And I put it in pretty much everything, I think. I can't remember the last time I cooked not with it in. Same goes for sriracha. Same for mirin as well. It's just a rice wine vinegar thing. Everything tastes better with flavourings. And it also extends to tahini. And if you've never tried tahini, buy it and eat it. It is incredible. It's kind of, I guess, like peanut butter, but made from sesame seeds. Also, something that I like that actually is totally not essential and does cost a little bit, but I think makes really nice cooking, is coconut sugar. It doesn't really do anything that normal sugar doesn't if you add to your cooking, but I just bought it once for a recipe and it just tastes nicer. It just has a really nice taste in it in your cooking. Last up is something that actually is one of the only things that isn't from Tesco, and that is this. Nutritional yeast. And it sounds awful and it looks like fish food. It looks exactly like fish food. So I mean, I get why it would not be that appealing, but it tastes like cheese, and cheese is inherently not vegan unless you buy a vegan version of cheese, but it tastes like cheese. You can have it on everything and it tastes like cheese. Why would you not love it? A lot of people worry when it comes to buying snacks and stuff, and they think that all vegans subside totally off vegetables and grains, and you're never going to be allowed anything sweet or chocolatey or snack type ever again. And let me tell you, that is not true. I'm like a walking advocate for everything vegan chocolate, basically. I don't actually have one here, but buy Veggo bars or Vego bars. They taste like solid Nutella and they're vegan. So these are great. They are by the Coconut Collaborative and they are chocolate pots, and it's just like mini chocolate desserts with a tiny hint of coconut. Tesco's free from chocolate buttons, and they do like big bags and mini bags, and all of Tesco's free from chocolate is great and vegan and super cheap. I mean, these are like 30p or 40p or something for a bag of chocolate buttons. So it's super easy to get things like that. And I mean, even the small Tesco's generally sell at least one or two of their specific freeform range, and then they'll sell like other branded ones as well, which is great. So if you think that you can't just go into a Tesco's and grab a treat or a snack or something, you are really, really wrong. I'm afraid. So that can't be your excuse. Even these Perkia cacao and cashew quinoa bars, they're just like chocolate breakfast bars. Vegan from Tesco's. Like all of this stuff apart from the nutritional yeast and the cookbooks is from Tesco's. So that is kind of all the food basics that I think are just great to have in the cupboard or that you can easily grab. There is also one other actual physical product that I just want to briefly talk about, and that is this, which is B12. And it's not something that anyone actually ever talks about, and it's not essential to take B12 tablets or sprays or anything, and it's in fact the only one that vegans get less of than meat eaters. And the only reason for that is that, don't quote me on this because I'm pretty sure this is right, but again, it'll be all in the information that I will link in the description box. B12 comes from dirt, I think. And the reason that we don't get as much of it is because as a society, people are really careful about washing everything that they eat and washing all their vegetables and washing everything. And that is why we don't get as much B12. The reason that meat eaters get more B12 is because animals are fed it. And that is the only reason. and even meat eaters don't get as much B12 as it is recommended that you should have. It's not essential, you don't need to take it. If you don't take it, you're not going to be missing out on a huge amount. It's not like if you go vegan and you don't get enough B12, you're going to die. That isn't the case. It's just, if you do want to take it, it's supposed to help a little bit with energy levels. Last thing that I want to talk about is all the help that is out there for you to become vegan and to make your life easier. And there is a ton of apps that are designed solely to help you find vegan food. My favorite, and the one that everyone should download, is It Vegan? So you just scan the barcode and then it will come up with this. It's just like a little speedometer. The red side is obviously not vegan, green is totally vegan, and then it'll tell you like definitely vegan, probably vegan, mostly vegan, and then it'll just give you a list of the ingredients and it tells you which ones are vegan. If there are ingredients that aren't vegan or that it doesn't know, it'll find those. I mean, it sometimes picks up things like, in here it says unknown words in the ingredients list are things like recipe and see in bold and oven cooked from frozen. So it just picks up like all the words that are included. So I mean, you can look through the unknown ones and it's easy to tell, you know, if it then includes something that's obviously not vegan, you'll know. But this is an absolutely great app. It will literally scan everything. You just have to scan the barcode. Next up is the Forks Over Knives app. This one, Forks Over Knives, is actually one of the documentaries that you should watch, and they just have an app that has tons and tons of recipes on it that are really great and really easy to use. And I mean, they've got like breakfasts and sides, pasta and noodles, soups and stews, grains, burgers, sauces, desserts. There's just an absolute ton of recipes. Those are just my favorite apps. I'm sure there's tons more you can get, but those are the few that I love. And last but not least, documentaries. Netflix has a wealth of documentaries that are invaluable. Cowspiracy is great, Forks Over Knives, which I just mentioned, Vegucated, Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. There is just tons. And I mean, if you watch one, it'll then come up on the because you watched, and you can just go through all of them, and I have. And I don't recommend watching them all in one go, but if you have the time, go for it. Then also Earthlings, which you can find the whole version of on YouTube, and on the 16th of March, depending when I upload this, it might have already gone, the people that made Cowspiracy are making another one called What the Hell. There is just so much that you can watch and that you can buy and that you can find that will just make it so easy. And every concern that you have has been a concern of other people. Like everything that you're like, where do you get your protein from? What if there are no foods I can buy? What if this happens or this happens? Everyone has worried about this before, and the information that you need to answer those concerns is out there, and it is easy to access as well. It's not hidden. There is just so much information that is out there to help you, and it's everywhere. The vegan YouTube community is huge and great. Ask me questions, ask anyone else who posts vegan videos questions. I mean, Bonnie Rebecca, Fat Lazy Vegan, those are my favorites. Mr. and Mrs. Vegan. There is just tons and tons of people that make all this information so that it is easy for you. All of this food, everything that I would eat in a week probably comes to less than £10 for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So I mean, if you're a student, being vegan, super cheap. Even though it hasn't been the most informative video or answered really any of the big questions, I hope that it has helped anyone who is struggling or is thinking about going vegan, and know that you can always come and ask me questions if you do have any concerns or if you do want to know anything more. And if you want more videos, like I was thinking about maybe doing my favourite vegan beauty products and stuff like that, let me know. So hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment if you want, and I will see you again soon.